But Kunal is here in the studios, and let's ask him why this sideways market. And Kunal, firstly, how do you explain that vertical drop that happened yesterday?
Very difficult to explain, Aisha. With a VIX of 10, India VIX of 10, a volatility index of 10, which is the lowest, I think, the reading in the last 12 months or 13 months in terms of closing. You can't explain this 500, 400 point drop on the Bank Nifty. So this could probably be just about a way in which markets are just about trying to cut out the weaker hands just before the start of the fresh rally, because most of the indicators are deeply oversold. I think Sajid was talking about put call ratios, etc. The PCR is at 0.8, 0.9, a very clear indication that the market sentiment is nowhere close to bullish. If the ratio is above 1, we term it as bullish market, where the markets are into a very cool, calm upside. But then if you are at 0.7, 0.8, which means that the markets are still into a nervous kind of a mode. So none of the indicators are indicative that the markets should be volatile like what we saw yesterday. But then on the other hand, I think the only good part is that the markets are still trading above the key support levels. We are above the 24,400, 500 mark. Slowly but gradually we are inching up higher, breaking those resistances, at least trying to test those upwards resistances on the indices. 24,800, 24,900 is what we tested on the index yesterday. So I think on the back of this, I would probably expect that the markets are going to a very gradual kind of an uptrend when you look at this on a net-to-net basis. Yes, but on the process of doing that, there are bouts of intraday volatility.
But what about the resistance that, and I was chatting with Sajid as well, each time you get closer to 25K, only to fall back. What about that?
Yeah, so, it's that the markets are not ready for a breakout. Whenever the markets are facing a resistance at a certain level, it's just that the markets are wanting to spend a lot of time in that range. So, the only good part is that the sectors are showing signs of strength. So it's like, when you have 4-5 strong sectors which are eventually making a comeback, but then when you have names like IT, names like Reliance, which are still lagging behind, it's almost like 25 to 30% weightage of the Nifty 50, which is not ready for a breakout. But the other 70 out of the other 70, there are 30% or 40% which are gearing up for a breakout or signs of strength. So it's a tussle. Till the time the lagging 30% which doesn't make a comeback, the markets would still try and just take those odd resistances every time. But yeah, I think it's a matter of time, because every point of time when the stocks become hugely oversold, like the IT stocks in this case, there's bound to be a point where value buy comes into this sector. So we'll just have to wait for that turnaround. When that happens, that's the time we'll see a breakout on the Nifty.
Well, and perhaps today could be the day, at least for Infosys. There's the buyback that they're going to be mulling. We'll chat about that. But Kunal, what about your stock strategies for the day?
So I'll go with a differentiated list this time, not auto, not metals. So the first one which I'm actually picking is Bajaj Finance. And for the first time, I think the last many days, the stock has started to show a lot of strength, breaking past above a series of previous, short-term swing resistance around the 900, 910 mark. Yesterday, I think it closed just closer to the 950 levels. So we'll look out for a breakout as well as a further continuation on the upside. Targets of 975 and stop us at 930. REC Limited is an interesting name. The stock has been a huge beaten down PSU name over the last 6 to 8 months. But I think at current levels of 365, 370, this could also be a good contra bet. The stock is forming a bullish pennant formation on the hourly chart. And I think it's very close towards a breakout, especially after yesterday's last hour of selling. The stock was a lot more resilient. So expecting a up move over the near term. Buy with a target of 385, stop loss 362.
Okay, so those are some of the stocks that have made it to Kunal's radar today. On that